Topic for today: Camus on absurdism. Why do bad deeds often go unpunished? Why do good people seldom get their due? Why are our efforts and sacrifices so often wasted? Why is the world so unfair? We spend our lives using reason to search for answers to these questions, only to be battered and bruised time and again by the unpredictability of reality. Misfortune clings to the innocent, while luck smiles on the vile. Even years of hard work and dedication can be undone in an instant. If everything in this world is meaningless, chaotic, and absurd, how are we supposed to face life? To understand and find answers to these questions, we can turn to one man, Albert Camus. He was a philosopher whose path was incredibly difficult. Born into poverty in Algeria, he suffered from an early age, losing his father as a child, living in extreme poverty, and constantly battling illness. The shadow of death always loomed over his formative years. This early life of hardship and his acute awareness of suffering allowed him to perceive the irrationality and chaos of the world far more keenly than ordinary people. Later, he lived through the Second World War and took part in the resistance movement, witnessing firsthand the violence, absurdity, and collapse of human reason. It was against this backdrop that he introduced the concept of the absurd. What is the absurd? The absurd is the rift that emerges between humanity's yearning for meaning and the world's silent, indifferent response. For example, we hope that hard work brings success, that good is rewarded with good, and that life has a clear direction. Yet reality is often filled with randomness, chaos, and injustice. This gap between us and the world, that gap is the absurd. When we honestly ask ourselves, why do I live, or, what is the point of my efforts, we may feel this rift. The core of Camus' absurdism is precisely the confrontation of this absurdity. In his view, the absurd cannot be eliminated, but it can be faced with courage. Life has no inherent meaning. Precisely because of this, humans are free to create their own meaning. He rejects those who escape reality through physical suicide, as well as those who numb themselves through philosophical suicide, leaping into false beliefs. In his eyes, only by confronting the absurd rift between humanity and the world, and using rebellion as a foundation, can we preserve our authentic human freedom within the repetitive, seemingly meaningless routines of daily life. In his essay The Myth of Sisyphus, Camus writes, Sisyphus endlessly pushes a boulder up a mountain, only for it to roll back down each time. His fate seems utterly tragic. He is condemned to repeat the same task forever, with no final achievement. Yet Camus does not portray Sisyphus as a complete failure. On the contrary, he argues that when Sisyphus consciously realizes his predicament and still chooses to push the stone, he possesses a kind of victory. The absurd is not what we should fear. What we should fear is surrendering to it completely. The absurd does not exist only in grand destinies, it also lives in our everyday chores. For instance, the daily routine of housework, tasks that require our time and energy repeatedly, yet are never finished once and for all. The floor you clean today will be dirty again tomorrow. If we know the floor will inevitably get dirty again, what is the meaning of cleaning it today? After all, we all have seemingly more important things to do, yet we keep spending time on these repetitive, trivial tasks. Housework is like the stone Sisyphus pushes, repetitive, mundane, never fully complete. The attitude one takes toward chores reveals their attitude toward life. Some people completely give up and live in squalor. Others do their chores but find them unbearably painful. And still others accept the repetitive nature of chores and find joy in the process. Doing housework is a microcosm of facing life itself. We cannot get rid of these seemingly small yet endlessly consuming tasks, but we can find ways to make them less painful. And now, with advanced technology, some companies are helping us deal with these absurdities. For example, the pioneering company ECOVACS has developed technological solutions. Cleaning windows requires setting up and taking down equipment, and cleaning high windows can be dangerous, so ECOVACS created window cleaning robots. Mopping floors gets them clean but leaves people with aching backs, so ECOVACS invented floor washing robots. Tidying up scattered clutter around the house seems endless, so ECOVACS developed smart organizing machines. The absurdities of life are these small, everyday repetitive tasks. What ECOVACS strives for is to solve these specific, trivial, repetitive problems, applying technology pragmatically to create a life free from tediousness. Take, for example, the ECOVACS XX Pro floor washer that has entered my life. It reduces the repetition and drain on my energy, giving me more time to do things that truly bring me joy. When facing a spilled drink, the Chores has a cross-pressure, freshwater floor washing function. With its roller brush, 32 nozzles spray clean water to clean and recover the liquid. Dirty water is collected separately. No matter how long you use it, the roller always stays clean, washing as it goes. For kitchen grease, its cleaning logic mimics how we would clean manually. Chores uses a professional enzyme spray technology, first spraying a cleaning solution to dissolve the grease, then cleaning. Kitchen grease is easily handled. For dust and debris, Chores has a gale force extraction technology that rivals high-end vacuum cleaners. Even fine dust embedded in carpets is thoroughly removed. To address the anxiety of running out of battery, Chores uses an ultra-fast charging technology that charges 22% faster. With powerful cordless operation, you can grab it and use it anytime. When these trivial household tasks are streamlined and automated, we are transformed from passive, stone pushers, into observers with choices. The time we save can be used for rest, reading, spending time with family, or simply daydreaming. What does creating a life free from tediousness mean? It means gradually lifting those boring, trivial tasks that weigh you down, little by little, letting technology create a sense of well-being for us, giving us the opportunity to do what truly matters. Of course, even if machines take over all housework, can we truly escape the absurd? The answer is clearly no. Machines cannot manage our anxieties, plan our lives, or ensure fairness in the world. But this does not diminish the meaning of machines. Because when facing the absurd, each small step we take by using machines to handle concrete tasks is an optimistic response to the heaviness of life. And Camus himself was deeply absurd. This philosopher who spent his entire life deconstructing and confronting the absurd met his end in the most absurd way, writing the cruelest final chapter for his own philosophy. On January 4, 1960, at just 47 years old, Camus died suddenly in a car accident. The road was empty. A straight road, a bright future, ended abruptly when his car crashed into a tree. He had once said that a car accident was the most absurd and absurdly meaningless way to die. Yet fate used exactly this kind of random, senseless, illogical accident to end the life of this thinker. He had just won the Nobel Prize. In his suitcase lay an unfinished manuscript for his first novel. Countless thoughts on humanity, rebellion, and life came to an abrupt halt, leaving endless regret. The most compelling aspect of Camus' philosophy is that it confronts the absurdity of life head-on without plunging us into despair. It acknowledges that effort may not bring certain rewards, yet still affirms the value of action. It sees human loneliness and struggle, yet encourages us to live with clarity, freedom, and passion. We cannot obtain from Camus the guarantee of a successful outcome, but we can gain the courage to face an uncertain life. The world may remain silent. Our efforts may come to nothing. The boulder may roll back down the mountain. Yet we can still, through each act of pushing, pausing, looking back, and starting again, prove that we are not entirely conquered by fate. And perhaps, creating a life free from tediousness starts precisely here. We cannot eliminate the absurdity and uncertainty of life, but we can reduce the repetition and drain in our basic, everyday routines, giving us more strength to face life again and to love life. What you heard today is not just philosophy, it is a mental weapon that took humanity thousands of years to develop. And this is not the last thing we will uncover. Every week, we take you deeper, to where real wisdom changes the way you think forever. Press follow now, because the next video will break a belief you have held your entire life.